Hey guys, Brent Hull Show. Talking today about travel. Got a new series about inspirational places you need to go to check out to raise your game, grow as a master builder. Come join me today in the Build Show. There is no better way to be inspired for building than travel. Whether it's going to Europe, staying in America, wherever you go, even if you just go to the next city and go look at a new neighborhood and see what they're building over there, or go look at their historic neighborhood, you're going to be inspired. You think back historically, and these guys used to go on what's called a grand tour. Okay, grand tour was basically going on a tour of France and going to Italy and going to look at these historic places, and they were very inspired by the antiquities of Rome, okay? And so the reason, Palladio's book and the reason the English started building the English country houses was because of the grand tour, because they were going around, they were getting inspired as they traveled. So we want to start this thing out with Monticello and UVA, okay? Thomas Jefferson, if you've listened to the Passion for Craft podcast, you know that he was an architect. This was discovered late. This was in the 1920s and 30s that Fisk Kimball realized that Thomas Jefferson was the reason why all these buildings look this way, and there's a Jeffersonian architecture that's inspired by Thomas Jefferson. So Jefferson was a huge deal and very important. And so go to Virginia and you're going to go check out both his house, okay, which is Monticello, and you're also going to go see the school, UVA. Now, there's a specific place you go at UVA, okay? You don't look at all the buildings, you go look at the historic part, in particular the lawn, but we'll come back to that in a second. You're going to start at Monticello. Monticello means little hill. You'll see that because he was inspired by the Italian villas of Palladio. Palladio was his hero. He owned 4 different copies of Palladio, said Palladio was his Bible, okay? And so you will see when you look at his building, it's a little bit kind of like a mini rotunda. If you think about the classic Italian villa, you had the working area on one level, and then you had the piano nobile, the main level where living took place, okay? Monticello does the same thing, but you don't see that working level because it's actually underneath the house. But it was set up to be this working farm, right? This gentleman's cottage, this gentleman's house based on classical principles. So the reason it looks like it does, the reason it's laid out the way it is, with those columns and the rotunda and the sides and the wings and all that stuff, was because of Palladio, okay? It's because that was his hero and that's what he was being inspired by. So number one, you got to go to Monticello. He's a quirky guy, okay? So he had all these inventions. The way his bed, he could fall out of one side of his bed or the other side of his bed, depending on what he was doing. The shutters, his library, the different books he was reading. Really interesting stuff, really puts you back in time. But the greatest American architect and president was Thomas Jefferson. Number 2 is George Washington, but it took him 47 years to build that house. 47, okay? Now remember, he went to Paris, and he was the president for a while. So he was busy, but you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to study a lot, and it's a great house to check out. The scale, the proportion, the beauty, federal stylings, beautiful stuff. This is a day trip, right? This is something that you can, if you're in the area, you can go over and see, and you can spend 2 or 3 hours in Monticello. There's a 40-minute tour. You can spend a little bit of time on the outside, buy a t-shirt, whatever you're going to do, but that's Monticello. You're going to check it out. From there, you're going to go down to the UVA campus. And it's really important that when you go there, you go to the old part of the campus, because the new part of the campus is bad classicism. It's unfortunate, okay? The lawn was voted, okay? Basically what happens is you have this rotunda on the top of the hill, and then coming down each side, you have the student housing and faculty living and teaching. Okay, so the house part of those things is the living area where the teacher and his family lived and where he taught. In between are all these doors and all these things where the students lived, okay, which is crazy. And even today, it's still a great honor for the seniors to be chosen to live on the lawn. But it's this great green expanse, spills down the hill. It's spectacular, okay? And looking up at the rotunda, okay, you're reminded of the Villa Rotunda of Palladio. You're reminded of the Pantheon. You're going to see it laid out, and there's a colonnade that runs down either side. It's gorgeous, okay? So just go there and spend a couple hours. But once you're done looking on the lawn, you've checked it out, thrown the Frisbee down, all that, look behind those houses because there's gardens back there. And if you go behind the rotunda, there's beautiful archways and everything going on there. So you can wander around the UVA campus in that area for an hour or two, taking pictures, getting inspired. It's awesome. So if you go there, there's kind of 5 things I want you to look at. 5 things I want you to take away. 1, before you go, okay, look at the Pantheon. Okay, just pull it up on your phone, just a Pantheon, look at it. When you get to the lawn, look up and say, where is the Pantheon? Where is that? What was he inspired? Look at the details there and see what's different, right? Look too at the houses, okay? And those are somewhat Greek revival-y houses, and you'll notice how the columns change, how there is a pattern and a rhythm. Pick out, which 3 styles of columns are at that UVA lawn, okay? Is there Tuscan? Is there Doric? Is there Ionic? Is there Corinthian, right? Is there Composite? There's 3 there you need to check out, so look for those too. When you go to Monticello, find the Folly, okay? There's a Folly on a hill, a beautiful little building. I'm not gonna tell you too much about it, but look for the Folly, which is this wonderful little place that you can go and think about follies on your project. A folly is basically a kind of a mini temple or mini visual thing that kind of pulls your eye away from and into the distance. Maybe it focuses your eye on something. And so there's a folly that in Monticello that's really beautiful, really organized really well, and dolled up. It looks awesome, but check out a folly. You need to learn about that idea of a folly. You've got a client with a big lawn. A folly is something that's really wonderful to direct your eye and kind of focus and center things. Number 4, notice the materiality. The materiality is, how things were built. You're gonna notice that there's a lot of brick. Brick was something that they had a lot of clays in that soil. Look at the color of the brick. Go up and look at the bonding, okay, of the brick. Is it Flemish bond? Is it English bond? How has he done that? And notice the way that they build up the brick arches. Notice the way that they're building with brick. They're masters of brick building there, and you'll see it in the walls, you'll see it in the molded brick, and so brick and materiality is something you really need to check out. Finally, when you're at UVA, look for the round door, okay? So it's on the lawn, it's down, there's actually a cut out area, a little rotunda inside the colonnade, and look for the round door. Wonderful, wonderful construction details there with curved elements and curved moldings, really tough to build. How would you build it if you were gonna build that today? So this is a top 5 place to go visit as far as trying to raise your game. Go look at what a gentleman architect built in the 1800s, right? Look at probably one of the best gentleman architects in America, right? What he was doing, what he was building. There's a great book called Thomas Jefferson Architect. Check that out. You'll learn a ton about, how he kind of grew as an architect and how he was really a tinkerer, homeowner who really educated himself and really grew in talent and ability. So there's a bunch of great things to be inspired by. The UVA campus, the lawn, was voted the most beautiful architectural wonder in the United States the last 200 years. And this was architects and everybody. So he called it the Academial Village. It is a temple for learnings, right? So go check that out. Go see what he was doing. Awesome stuff there, guys. That's your first trip. Tell me what you think. That's the travel channel for budding master builders, right? Go check out Thomas Jefferson's Monticello. Go check out UVA. Number 1 on the trips that you guys need to take.